So sometimes the things that are going on with you in this life stem from another life. And we have different anchor points of different traumas that have happened to us that could be this life. But ones that happen in other lives can often be even more significant with the impacts of what's happening to us. And until you find those anchor points and you clear them, you can be dealing with some very intense type of emotions, or having something happen to you over and over and over again. And I thought I would share, I've got a couple of different stories about locating lost souls that turned out to be some anchor points for myself. And this first one was very traumatic. I was going through a period where I was being psychically and physically attacked by negative entities. And I'm not going to go into all of that, but if you guys are interested, and you can reach out, and I might create a video about that later. But for this point now, I felt a helmet come on my head, and it was like this band that went around my head, and it felt like things were being drilled in. I mean, especially right here on me. I was just being, I was being tortured. We'll just say that. And I was working with someone who wasn't able to find where the anchor point of this came from. And so I was doing my own work. I was finding stuff, I was clearing stuff, but this wouldn't let go. It's like I had this helmet on my head that was this really harsh vice, and I couldn't get it off. And then one day I went in to meditate, and the person that I was working with, she's like, I can't find this, but I just hear something about electroshock therapy. So I went in to meditate with the intention to see the life with this electroshock therapy. And then I was almost immediately brought to see where I had been this young girl, and I was outside playing like on a hillside. I could see I had a younger sister. My mother and father loved me. They were watching me. The focus was my father. I could see him looking at me with all of this love and joy. But then as I became a teenager and got a little bit older, something in me changed, and I couldn't quite tell if I had developed schizophrenia, or if some gifts had come in and I was seeing things and I was relaying them to my father. Whatever I was doing, it scared him, and he wanted to help me. So first thing he does is he brings me to the church. And the priest could not, he tried to, but he could not help me. So he gave him a doctor to take me to. So then my father takes me to this doctor, and this doctor also has this nurse. And these people were horrible people. But my father didn't know that. All he saw was his baby girl, and he wanted to help her. But he leaves me with them. And I watch as they put this band around my head, and they start giving me electroshock therapy. And it was so intense. They tortured me with this electroshock therapy. And whatever else they were doing to me, they tortured me so much that it ended up pushing my soul out of my body. And what was left was a vegetable of a person. And the meditation ended where I'm watching my father again. In the beginning, he's watching me run around playing when I was younger. Now, he's remembering watching me run around playing. He's got tears in his eyes because I'm sitting now in a wheelchair, and I'm just like, oh, not moving. My eyes are open, but nobody's home. And he's thinking, what did I do? What did I do to my daughter? And there's all these tears coming out of his eyes. And then that part of the meditation ends. That when it starts up in the next moment, now I'm someplace different. And I'm like in this tunnel going into, not a tunnel, a cave. I'm going into this cave and I can feel like there's water somewhere because there's that musky type smell. And, you know, it's a little, there's that damp and that groundiness of going into this cave. And as I go into this cave, I see this big stone, and there is a body on this stone. And I know it's that soul aspect of that life. But I mean, I could see it was a female, but I will tell you, she did not look like her. She was in, you know, she was a female being, but she was a different, it wasn't a human look to her. Human-like, but not all human. And her skin was like opaque with some blue iridescent color in it. I mean, she just looked dead. And I could go up and touch her, and she felt like, I just kept getting the message. It was like the blubber of a whale. And I'm going, oh my God, what do I do to her? So I pick her up and I bring her back to, I have an astral place, it's my safe container place, and I bring her back there, and I've got a table there, and I lay her on this table, and I'm looking, thinking, how do I help her? And so I start to ask my guides what to do. When out of nowhere, this light is like, beam me up, Scotty. This white light comes down and just takes her, and she's gone. She's completely gone. And I said, well, my oversoul came and took her. And as soon as that happened, like this band that had been around my head just dissolved away. It went away. But the process wasn't over, right? So often, you know, you've got to eliminate something that's stuck to you so you can actually get into the trauma and then heal it. So the next day, you know, it was one of these where I've got 3 days and I've got to go through this again for 3 days. So the second day, I go back into a meditation, and I go to my safe astral space, and all of a sudden that light comes back, and that light brings that body back, and she's just laying there, just like she was before. And the next moment, there is this white divine light that has all the colors, like of the rainbow, your chakras, all of them. It's just beaming down like on her so intensely and so hard. And all of a sudden she just pops up out of that. And now she looks like a seraphim, like an angel. She's got angel wings. She's smaller, and she's up just flying all around with the most beautiful joy and love that's coming out of her. She's just emitting all of this. You know, of course, that just makes me smile. I immediately got so happy, smiling, and I see her, and I know, like, she's okay now. She's okay. And I will tell you that I've had a couple of other lives where I've retrieved a soul that was lost, a soul of mine. And you know when it happens, when it's something really significant, because in every one of those cases, my oversoul came down and took them right back. So this is just a 411. But after that ended, I was like, okay, I know I've got to now heal all of this. Like, she's okay now. Now I've got to heal the trauma. So on the third day, I went into meditation with the intention of healing the trauma. And, you know, I first started with my father, because, you know, at the end of the day, he did this to me. He didn't protect me. But it was really easy to heal that, because I could, even at that time, I could still feel how much he loved me. And I knew there was no malice about what had happened. So he was an easy one to process. But then I had to go through the, you know, the priests, and then that really, really despicable people, the doctor and the nurse. And then when I healed all that, it was gone. And then, you know, the relief that I received from that was just huge. And I knew that that anchor point was gone. Now, we often have multiple anchor points and multiple things that happen. But when you clear one of these really big ones, you know, these anchor points allow other things that happen and other negative entities to come in and pile other things on top of you. That makes it just so much harder for you to actually heal the things inside you. Like if you could take them off, you know, you could see how easy it was for me to heal the trauma. Once I found it, I could just go right into the space and heal it. But often with these anchor points and these, you know, contracts and different things that we have with these negative beings, it's, you have to, once you can remove them, remove those things out, it becomes really easy to heal and you're not stuck in it. So that was one of the stories. Now in this other story, this was a case where I had like two souls that were stuck. One I could watch stuck in this loop, and one was a different life that went in and tried to clear that, but he actually got stuck. And in these lives, both of these, was a man. So in the first part of that meditation is that all of a sudden it's like I'm underneath the ground. And it's like it's just this wide open space. I'm underneath this ground and I can look up and it's like this translucent, I can see this wheel. It's a what do you call it? Like a carriage wheel. And the carriage wheel will go over this pothole, and I could see the pothole. I could see the road, and the pothole it's like underneath was glass, so I could see the pothole perfectly. It hit the pothole, the wheel broke. This man gets down, he fixes it, then goes around a circle, and then he hits that pothole again, and it breaks. And I'm watching this, it's a loop. And the man, who was a life of mine, I could see that, you know, he had on this black top hat and this like black cape. This was, you know, I don't know, 1800s or something like that. And he was stuck. He was stuck in a loop. Now, the next thing I know is I'm now outside of this area. And I'm watching these like 5 warrior type, Amazonian, you know, type. They had all that look of the warriors that you would think, the Mayans. They had that kind of look to them. And they were climbing up on the outside. They were going through this, well, I won't say climbing, they were walking up this pathway. It was like halfway up this mountain. And there was this huge opening to this cave, and it was clear it was a portal. Like there was some kind of a difference. Like a, you know, a solid liquid, you know, something like that was all in front of this area. But the men were standing outside first, and they were planning what to do, because what I had been shown was some other part of their tribe had gone into this area and never came out. And there was something in there they were supposed to retrieve, and this other group of men went in and they never came out. So these 5, and let me tell you, they were some warrior looking dudes, and I knew which one was me. And their goal was they were going to go right in, find them, and get right out. But as soon as they crossed into it, it was, let me tell you, it was like the Stranger Things. As soon as you got into it, it was complete silence. There was no sound being made anywhere. There was stuff there, but there was no sound. And when you walk in, it was a massive opening to it. And then there was this massive wall. These vines come out almost immediately and wrap themselves around the men, pull them up to the wall. And could see these vines all over them. They could see, like the vines had their eyes open, so they could see, covered their mouth. They couldn't speak, they couldn't move, and they were trapped. And then I could see like the wall was covered in these men, all men, no women, all these warrior men up against this wall. The one that is me, he's looking up, and that's where the loop was for the other life. There was that space that you could see right through, like glass, but it wasn't glass, and you could see the carriage keeps going over the pothole, breaking. The guy gets out, fixes it, and just keeps doing it. So I go in, and I'm able to. I don't know if it's because it was my astral self or just the right time of this, but I wasn't worried. I knew I could go right in, and I went right up to the version of that warrior that was a different life of mine. And I was like, it's time for you to go now. And, you know, whatever he could do with his eyes to say yes. And I immediately like released him, and he went whoosh, and then he was gone. And then I made the offer with all these other men that were on this wall. I said, I offer to you, because you have to, you know, it's free will. You have to ask and get permission. And I asked them all, would you, if you choose to leave now, I will free you. And then I saw whoosh, whole bunch of them went gone, but some remained. And I would say maybe 15 or 20% of them remained up there. And so I just left them because, you know, there's probably a different purpose they have and a different way out that they're meant to do. But then I look up, and then I see the pothole again going over. So I go up and I fill in the pothole. And then I watch. And then now I'm up above. Now I'm not down in this upside down Stranger Thing world. And let me tell you, it looked really freaky in there. It was just wild. But I'm up on top now, and I'm watching the man. He drives right on by. There's no more loop. There's no more repeat of that. And that was just a different type of situation that was significant, that had to come out and had to be healed. And that other life of mine had gone in there to, one, retrieve those men, but also I think the people originally went in to, you know, get some aspect that had them stuck. Like these loops come from some aspect of us that had us stuck. And, you know, that was probably one of the more interesting ways to pull off the loop and to heal it and to retrieve these souls. And then every time you do that, it's like you return fractals and you return pieces to yourself. And it just, your vibration starts to get clearer, your gifts get clearer, your sense of being and your sense of wholeness becomes more steady and more real. And, you know, there are other aspects of yourself that you have to retrieve at times. You know, there's the souls that get lost. Then there's the souls that were stuck here, like what happened. But there can also be just a fractal, like a piece of you that you did on an exchange with someone that was like a malevolent or a negative contract in which you exchange things with someone. And there's so many different reasons for that, different lives and different things that happen. But, you know, to complete things, if some being, some entity has a piece of you, like they always have a way to find you and a way to impact you. So you've also got to clear out this exchange, and you need to get your exchange back. So if you're ever working with these like contracts to pull them off, you know, you've got to pull off the loops, you've got to pull off the curses, you've got to pull off all malevolent consequences, but you also need to ask your guides to reverse any exchanges. And the pieces you could have given away, they can also be pieces of your gift, pieces of your chakra, pieces of your soul. So those are all very intentful things to look for, to pull back for yourself. But they also have to be cleared and purified before you receive them back into your body. So that's where you would want to work with like divine guides to have them do that. And there's so many parts and pieces to this. If this is not work you've ever done before, just because of everything I've learned, I would highly recommend working with someone. It is something I do. I would love to work with you, but there's other people as well. So if you have somebody that you're already working with, you know, you just do what feels right, what calls to your soul. But then you learn these things because there's just a lot of different pieces. So once you learn this, then you can start to clear these things out for yourself. And that's when like you start to see some monster jumps and things for you, for opening your gifts, for being able to see more, and for just clearing, like just having a clear vibration, a clear frequency. And the clearer your frequency is, the clearer you understand the energy of what's happening around you, what people's intent are, you know, the knowing and the doubts of, is this really this or is it really that? They all just start to go away. But these again are all pieces of you that the more you restore, the more you return to yourself, the more whole you become. So anyway, if you're interested, check out my website. Otherwise, because I'd love to mentor you. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for staying this long.